Hey everybody, today I'm going to show you how to make these really easy print and cut Christmas advent boxes. Okay, so to set up our advent boxes, if you're performing a print and cut in Cricut Design Space, you're going to need to upload the actual PNG images here for each of the boxes, and then you'll also see score lines in an SVG format that are included with the downloads as well. If you are, of course, do not have a cutting machine and you just are using a pair of scissors, then you don't have to go through this process. You would just print the PNG images out in your preferred size using your printer. I'm going to go ahead and bring in one of these just to go through the process. You would just click on the upload image, and then you would want to browse your computer to find the one that you would like to bring in. I'm just going to drag this over. I'm going to select complex and then continue. We don't need to do anything here, so we're going to hit apply and continue, and make sure you select print and cut image, upload at the bottom. And then we'll make sure that we select recent uploads here with a green highlight around it, and you'll bring it into the canvas. You would do exactly the same thing with the SVG file for the score lines as well. So I'm going to add this into the canvas here. And you may need to adjust the size, so print and cut can only go 9.25 inches high, which is what I'm doing here. I'm just going to hide this one real quick. And then you'll want to bring the score lines in, and you'll want to also make sure to adjust your score lines in size to make sure that they are the proper width, so you can make it exact if you want. We could do 6.6. And now it's perfect. Alright, so then you're going to need to just bring your score lines over. I need to bring mine on top of it, to front. If you look closely here, there are little dotted score lines to help you know where to line it up, nice and easy. Before you go any further, make sure you change the score lines here. They will always come in as basic cut. You have to tell Cricut Design Space that you want it to be a score line. So it's going to be a basic cut until you hit that drop down and select score. Then you'll see it change to a score line. And the last thing you need to do is click and drag over both the score lines and the box, and use your attach tool at the bottom of the layers panel to ensure that it's going to score exactly onto the box there and it's not going to score on a separate mat. And that's it. All you need to do is go to your make it screen here, the cut screen, and select the cardstock setting. I'm using a medium cardstock. And then we'll go through the process of printing this out with our printer before we load it onto our Cricut machine. So I sent my design to my printer through Cricut Design Space, and the designs are printing out with that black registration mark. I've got a bunch printed here, and I'm going to go ahead and load them onto my mat. First thing I need to do is I need to put in my scoring tool. You can also use a scoring stylus. I'm going to be using the scoring wheel here with my Maker 3 machine. And I'm going to choose one of these printable boxes here. And of course, you want to make sure you have the corresponding one set up on the screen just to make sure that nothing is going to be misaligned. And then once the machine is prompting me with the double arrow button, I'm going to load it, and it's going to score first. And then once it's scored, we will be able to also replace the blade with the fine point blade so that it will cut it. The scoring will take a little bit longer than the cutting part, so you might need to wait. It was probably about 3 minutes per box for the scoring, but it's really convenient to have the machine score it for you. Everything's nice and crisp when the machine does the scoring. But you can use the scoring stylus if you do not have the Maker 3 or you just do not have the scoring wheel. So the scoring stylus can work as well. You could even use a scoring board if you're just cutting by hand with a pair of scissors. Once the scoring's done, do not unload your mat. You'll want to put in the fine point blade, just change the blade out, and then proceed by hitting the flashing play button or the go button again in order to get it to cut out. And I'm going to remove my paper now from my mat. It's a good idea to peel the mat away from the paper so that it helps it not curl so much, especially if you're dealing with a very fresh, sticky mat like I am. So there is our print and cut box, and all we need to do now is assemble it. So it's as simple as folding along those score lines. You should be able to feel them pretty effortlessly fold all of those tabs and those edges of the box. You'll be able to fold that in very easily. You can use a little bit of glue for the tabs here. I'm going to be using a permanent runner tape, scrapbooking runner tape, because I just want to be able to get it stuck on real quick, and I don't want to have to really wait for the glue to dry. So if you have scrapbooking tape that's the permanent kind, then that can work well. But you can also use like a simple liquid glue as well. I would not recommend a hot glue gun just because the hot glue can be very thick and it'll probably misshape your box a little bit. I'm using that runner tape just on those 4 tabs there. So I'm just running that along. Like I said, you can use glue as well. That's the only area that you need to add glue or tape because the top of the box is going to be basically a tuck top. So we're just going to tuck it in and it'll be easily opened and closed that way. So you only need to add it to those 4 tabs. And then just line your corners up and press it together. You could fill these boxes with anything you want. I'm going to put a little bit of shredded paper in mine and then fill them with some small candies. So if you're doing all of these, which would be ideal, I did 10 here just to get started with. I did 1 through 10, but obviously you would go up to 25. You could fill these with a little bit of shredded paper or tissue paper and then add in your candies or maybe a small toy. These boxes are about 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches on all sides, so they turned out large enough to hold at least a couple pieces of candy. So it can be perfect if you have like children that you're giving 1 piece of candy per day. I have 2 kids, so it can easily hold a couple pieces of candy. Then all you have to do is fold the top of the box in and tuck it right in, and it'll stay closed on its own. Of course, if you wanted to add a little bit of tape or something, you could. I don't personally recommend it because then it would tear the boxes. You could reuse these year after year if you just take care not to get them crushed. So I don't recommend putting tape, just tuck the box. And then you would print all these out, 1 through 25, and you could stack them somewhere. You could even hang them if you wanted to, thread them maybe with a little bit of baker's twine or something, and you could hang them up. That could be a fun way to do it as well. Make sure you download these templates. They are available at members.abbikirstencollections.com, and you can find more freebies on the blog as well. Thanks for watching, and Merry Christmas!